Hello again. In this video we are going to show you how you can use version control in Process Studio. So first thing you need to do is ensure you actually have that repository created either via Git or SVN, whatever you are using. For SVN currently we support only Silk SVN, and Git, any Git client is supported. So ensure that your repository is already created, then you can connect to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and search for my specific project. So this is my version control project. I'm going here and I'm just opening this workflow. Once you do that, what you can do is you can go ahead and select to change the perspective. So this stack icon that you can see, that allows you to change the perspective. Just drop down, select Git or SVN. Now no repository, do you want to add a new one? So I'll just say yes, and I'm going to go ahead and add my demo repo here. So demo repository, right, this is already there. I'm just connecting to it. So let me just put in the values here, browse. Now what I'll do is I'll navigate to this specific folder in my file explorer and select it so that it can find the necessary Git files. Okay, so this is my folder in which my required Git files are present. I'm just going to go here, click on OK, and type is Git. I'll just click on OK. Now demo repository is successfully created. Do you want to open now? I'll go ahead and say yes. If you see this, we can already see a commit header here. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes, and it will then take us to the required perspective for version control. Now here you can see that I have a list of all the commits that have been made in this repository so far. My initial commit, readme, and all of the other things. Now if you see this, I have different versions or different commits. So you can see that what you would expect in your standard version control tools, all of that is available here, push, pull, branch, everything. Now how this is different, or how we have added a small feature to make it more relevant to Process Studio, is that you can actually see visual difference between files, right? So if I click anywhere here, you can see that there are changes or the files that have been changed. So if I click here, you can see the readme.txt that has been created, or in this case you can see the XML version of my specific workflow. Now what we want to do is, let's say we want to look at visual difference, right, wherein we want to see what is the difference between two versions. You can just select it here, just click on it, left click, then right click and say visual diff, right? Once you do that, you can actually see comparison between two different versions, right, the original one versus the new one. Now if I click on the original one, you can see that these two additional plugins were there, and you can see a small cross here. So what I'll do is, to ensure we don't have distraction, I'll just close this off, all of these windows, and I'm just going to zoom this a bit. Let's say something to 150 should be okay. Now if you can see here, this time much more clearly, you can see that I actually have removed these two in the next version, right? And since we have done a visual difference against this workflow, you can see that the older version has these two things removed. Now if I were to go back to the perspective and see it the other way around, wherein I'll go here, and then in this case I'm going to go ahead and say visual difference. Remember last time we saw the topmost one. I say visual difference, and you can see that as against old one, or as against the existing one versus the new one which we are seeing, you can see that instead I can see the plus symbol here. Let's zoom it up a bit again for better visibility, and you can see that instead of a cross symbol which means removed, you can actually see the plus symbol. And as I mentioned earlier, this is purely integration with your standard version control tools. So the standard things you will expect, like commit, push, pull, branch, tagging, all of these are available in Process Studio version control as well. Whenever you want to revert meaning not version control wise revert, but simply go back to your standard development workspace. One is, of course, you can directly open the specific version from here and then you can commit and push. Or the other way is you simply go back to Process Studio perspective and it is going to take you to your workflow. So that's a quick look into how version control works for Process Studio. Thank you for watching.